All right, I think. Oh, okay. I think we are live now. Uh, hey everyone, Scott of the Scott Man, and welcome to my first live Q and A for everyone. It is great to be finally doing a live stream for the very first time. Although I've done a couple other ones earlier this year just for my fellow patrons, and I've been really enjoying the monthly Q&A streams that I've been doing with the patrons. But I don't want to leave people out. So, and of course I enjoyed all doing all the Q&A videos in the past. So I figure why not do a couple streams a year for everyone to enjoy. Yep. Hey there, Snow. Yep. All has been going very well. Hope all is well with you too. But I just got back yesterday from a road trip out to Massachusetts, where I was out there for like a good almost a week and a half. So because I don't go back to work until tomorrow, so I figure have today as like a nice rest day after 2 days of driving back from Massachusetts. So I so I knew this would be a great day for the Q&A stream. But yeah, but yeah, so anyway, so with this Q&A live stream, so yeah, I'll probably go for maybe about 1 hour or so. So with this stream, so that way I can spend the next hour just hang out with you guys and of course answer all your questions live on stream. And for anybody who is not unable to attend the stream, or if people have to come and go or something, or or leave early or come in late, no worries, because this is going to be backed up onto YouTube. So please feel free to watch back the video. And if you happen to not make the Q&A, but you really have a question that you like to ask me, please feel free to leave in the comments, and I'll respond to your comment in the comments section. Hey there, She Wolf 1266. And And hey there, Team Dog. Do you plan to go to Atlanta someday? So back in 2019, I did go to Atlanta once. Which, yeah, Atlanta's a really cool city. I went for a convention called MomoCon, which there's even a video that I posted on there. I did fly for that trip, so I didn't get a chance to like film any like driving videos or anything. But it's like, yeah, so I got to go to that convention. Also got to spend a day exploring Atlanta too, where I got to go to the birthplace of Martin Luther King Jr., which was really cool. Got to eat a lot of great restaurants while I was in Atlanta. But I definitely need to get back down there. It's an easy flight because flights from Detroit to Atlanta are really easy, with being from a Delta hub to a Delta hub. So I can easily fly down there, and I can even drive down there too, because I know you've given me a lot of different driving video suggestions for around the Atlanta area. So yeah, but if I happen to drive in Atlanta, I'll definitely need to look at all your freeway video recommendations. That way I can try to film some of those. Hey there, Copeland OS. Yeah, it's been a great Sunday so far. Although the weather's not the greatest, but I'll gladly take it after having such great weather with this past road trip, where I did not even see rain once, and it was nice and warm too. So, but hey, it's a perfect day for a Q&A stream. And so, questions: how do you like Boston? It's one of my favorite cities I visited in the U.S. That's awesome, because Boston is one of my favorite cities as well. Like, as I was saying at the beginning of the stream, not sure if you just rolled in just a minute ago or if you've been here since the first second, but yeah, I just got back from a road trip to Massachusetts and happened to go back into Boston for a day and a half. Because yeah, I've been to Boston like several times in the past decade. I absolutely love the city. It's very walkable, lots of great history, lots of great food as well. But yeah, just absolutely love getting to check out the city, and it's like there's never a dull moment there. What'd you think, or what'd you do when you were in New York? So yeah, one thing with my road trip to Massachusetts, I happened to stop in New York City for a night, and also did a longer trip to New York a couple years ago, back around like Labor Day weekend. So I'm not sure if you're referring to that trip or like the or my most recent stop, but for my most recent trip, though, I did get to, for the most part, it's like I almost some of the things I didn't get to do in 2021 when I went, I got to do this time, which one of the big things that I did not have time to do the last time, but I finally got a chance to do it this time was to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, which I will say it is a really cool bridge. It's really fun to walk across because you can get a great view of the lower Manhattan skyline, including the Freedom Tower. And then, of course, look off to the right, you can see all the skyscrapers of Midtown Manhattan, including the Empire State Building. And of course, look back the opposite direction. You can look out at Brooklyn. So really enjoyed that. And there were a couple of restaurants I got to check out too, including Los Tacos Numero Uno, which for I've heard they've had some great tacos. They're I think that their carne asada tacos were like top notch, some of the best I've ever had. And then there is Eileen's cheesecake that I went to, where I had like a personal size cherry cheesecake, which was top notch. So I was only there for like several hours, but I figure why not stop there since I was that close to the city before continuing my way up to Massachusetts. Yeah. Scottman895 travel. Are there any states that you haven't been to in a state that you haven't or states you have been to? Oh yeah, there's quite a bit. It's like heck, there's even stuff in Michigan I still have to see too. Like like in Michigan for one, I have not been to Ontonagon, which is in the western part of the Upper Peninsula. And then for a lot of the other states, Florida's a big one because I've only been to Orlando. Funny enough, for a business trip, not for like leisure or anything like that. So I've never been to any of the theme parks in Orlando. And then my other trip to Florida was to like St. Augustine and Daytona Beach. But yeah, I've not been to Tampa. I'd love to get down to Tampa, Miami, Sarasota, Fort Myers, a lot of those cities, or even like Jacksonville or going west toward Pensacola. I almost did go into Pensacola during my road trip to Alabama, but I decided to spend the day in a town called Fairhope instead, just to check out some of the smaller Alabama towns. And then in Texas, I still need to get out to the western part of the state, like El Paso or even like to Laredo. So I haven't been over there. And then New Mexico is another big one because I've only been able to drive through the state. So I'd love to check out like Santa Fe and Albuquerque. And then California, like I still have to go to LA too, because I've only been to the San Francisco Bay Area and San Diego. So Los Angeles is a big one. And I've been to Washington, but I've not been to Seattle, excluding the airport. But yeah, Seattle's another place I really need to get out to sometime. The only problem is flights are always so expensive to go out there. But one of these days, I'll try to maybe try and plan it well ahead in advance, so that way the prices aren't as insane. But yeah, I could pretty much spend an entire stream just naming different cities because yeah, I've been to 46 states and for a lot of the states I've only barely scratched the surface. But yeah, that's a good question though. Thank you. Hey there, Greg. It's great to see you on here from logging in from Hamburg, Germany. I've not been to Hamburg, Germany yet, although I definitely need to get out there sometime. Though in Germany, I've only been to a Stuttgart and Munich. But yeah, definitely need to get to Hamburg and also especially to Berlin at some point. Have you been to Alaska? I have not, and I almost did go, but so a little funny story. So this was about 11 years ago. I was supposed to go on a business trip to Anchorage, Alaska, to a customer site for my full-time job. And because I was already had a vacation planned around the time that this business assignment was going to take place, I could not go to Alaska and my coworker had to go instead. So I was a little disappointed because of that, but to be honest, though, because it was gonna be a business trip, I would not really have seen that much other than just the city of Anchorage. But yeah, I definitely need to get out to Alaska. It's one of the 4 states I still need to get to, along with Nevada, Idaho, and Hawaii. Oh yeah, yeah. It's like it's great to have vacations, but at the same time, there's a lot of times where they can sometimes get away with some other things too. But As what I always say, there's always next time. Hello from Detroit. From Detroit. Hey there. It's great to see someone else from the Metro Detroit area in here as well. But but yeah. Oh, what is your next vacation? Oh wow, it's like I just came back from one. You're asking me about that. But yeah, I love it though. But yeah, my next trip that I've planned is gonna be something inside the state of Michigan. As of right now, this is unless I was to do like a random weekend trip or something between now and Memorial Day weekend. But I'm planning a long weekend trip up to the Traverse City area coming up sometime in late May because I haven't been up there in several years, and I have some videos from up there, but they really need updating because they're quite outdated and with not so good quality. And of course, I've really improved my videography skills over the years. So again, videos need to be updated, and I need to get back up there because it's one of my favorite parts of the state. And the one disappointment is that I've not been up there in several years. So it's like I feel like almost like a hypocrite where we're saying that it's one of my favorite parts of the state, yet I haven't been there in several years. So let's just say I need to fix that. What is your favorite freeway in Ohio? That's a good question. I would honestly say Interstate 77. The reason why I say that is because as you go south into Ohio, especially south of Akron and Canton, Ohio, which Canton, Ohio is where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. And as you go south in there, you get to some really nice terrain. Like it's very hilly as you get closer and closer down to the Ohio River and the border of Ohio and West Virginia. It's very pretty scenery. So I would say that's definitely my favorite. Where like a lot of the other freeways in Ohio aren't really as eye appealing. Like I-75 is not the greatest, although in the Cincinnati area is pretty nice. And then the Ohio Turnpike, it's a toll road, so it's like people don't really like paying the tolls or anything. But it does get nice too, like once you go over in the Cleveland area, especially when you're going over the Cuyahoga River near where the national park is. So I will admit that that is a nice stretch. So like there are nice stretches of freeways in Ohio, but there's other stretches that are not as appealing, especially in the northwestern part of the state where it's primarily flat and just farmland. But oh well, it's like it can't be perfect though. I love to visit Alaska, but not in the winter. I hear you. It's like yeah, it's like anytime when it's winter, even here in Michigan, it's like I'm always trying to think someplace warm to go. That's why I went down to Austin in February, and it was a nice getaway from the winter here. Although I will admit that the winter here in Michigan this past year was very mild, like one of the mildest I've ever seen in my lifetime. So I couldn't complain too much this time around. Michigan is a great state. Absolutely. Because yeah, I know you're in Detroit back in I think early January, and of course the funny thing is that you happened to be in Michigan when I was not here, because I remember that you came over to Detroit to do some really cool photography in downtown Detroit, and then I remember think that the day you were here, I was down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, so it was pretty funny how we were completely the opposite ends of the country, and then when you were happened to be here, I was not here. But oh well, there's always next time though. But yeah, hopefully you get a chance to come back out to Michigan at some point too, because I know it's not too far from your family. No, but Ray for me to move to Texas. Hello, Gulf of Mexico. Oh yeah, Texas is such a beautiful state. Although I will admit the summers there are really hot. So in the middle of the summer, I would probably only be out in the mornings or the evenings because the daytime or like the middle of the day, I would rather be either in air conditioning or in a swimming pool. That's pretty much how the 4 years I was living in Houston, Texas when I was a kid. That's pretty much what we did in the summertime was we just spent our summers at the pool. And I was always a unhappy camper when there was a thunderstorm that came out and everybody had to get out of the pool for like an hour. Although the river routes that winds from West Virginia the Cincinnati, Ohio. That's another part of Ohio I need to get down to as well because I've only seen like since Cincinnati and then Marietta, but I haven't been anywhere like in between. So, but I'm sure that has got to be very scenic too, especially with the Ohio River covered through a lot of the more hilly terrain through there. So that would be cool to explore that part of Ohio. Do you think I-73 will happen in South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, and Michigan? I still hope for those interstates. It's really hard to say because I know they got the stretch right now in the Carolinas, but to connect to other areas, because I know there's a lot that go into into play when it comes to either designating new interstates or constructing new interstates. The the one factor is of course an environmental factor. They want to construct a new freeway, they got to make sure it's not going to cause harm to the environment or any with any of the ecosystems that are in there. Because I know they've run into that with extending Interstate 69 all the way down from Michigan to Texas. So I know there's a lot of stuff that's coming into play for that. And of course, at the same time, too, when considering a new freeway, too, there's a lot of people who have either businesses or homes along the way, and so that could be another big challenge too, because a lot of people may not be happy that they have to leave potentially the house that they've lived in for generations in order to build a freeway. So there's a lot of challenges to building a freeway or extending like an interstate from one part of the country to another. So it's like I don't see Interstate 73 coming all the way up to Michigan, but anything is possible. Although if it does, I don't think it'd be any time soon, really. But again, we'll have to wait and see, though. How is cousin Lauren doing? She seems such like a nice, like such a nice person. Oh, but she's doing very well. I know she's doing I think she's been doing like some type of a bike trip this past weekend or something. Somewhere in Texas. I'm not sure exactly where she is, but yeah, I haven't talked to her in a couple months or so. But yeah, as a matter of fact, I might be talking with her very briefly. Not today, but maybe sometime this week though, just to catch up. Because yeah, I haven't had a chance to talk with her a whole lot, just because I have been quite busy this past year. But she is a really cool person though. I really enjoy hanging out with her, and I most recently got to see her in San Diego, where we both flew out to San Diego and got to spend like a long weekend together. So it was really a real fun time. So yeah, I enjoy hanging out with her. Yeah, definitely have to try to meet up with her again at some point. Although I'm not sure where. Although I'm sure she'll love to go anywhere. What are your thoughts on small town Main Street revitalization efforts? I think it's a really great idea because like that's what one of the reasons why I love like the small towns or heck even some of the larger cities where because yeah, it's like the main street is where you got all your local businesses, your local restaurants, and I know they've taken a big hit, especially back during the pandemic, where I felt like they kind of got over competed by like some of the bigger department stores or like the chain restaurants. So I know they've been really struggling big time. So I know there's a lot of work that still has to be done to revitalize a lot of the main streets. But I have seen a lot of great things, even here in my home state of Michigan, where they put a lot of effort into making like the main corridors of a city like a lot more beautiful and eye appealing. So I've been really liking the progress that I've been seeing even in some of the bigger cities here in Michigan, like downtown Detroit's really nice, and even downtown Flint's like really impressive too. Like I've driven through there a few times, and it's really impressive. So because like the main street is one that it's a main street for a reason. It's where a lot of people go to do shopping, for dining, or just for hanging out, and with something's very appealing and has a lot of business to offer, it's going to attract more and more people and help improve the economy of a particular place. So So it's like it's not perfect. There's a lot of work that has to be done, but yeah, it's but I really like that there's been a lot of focus on the different main streets. They're opening a new high-speed rail in Orlando that goes all the way to Miami if you also want to visit South Florida. Oh, that's really cool. Because yeah, that's one thing that I have not seen a whole lot in the United States is a really good like high-speed rail. Because I know that because our main train system here in the US is Amtrak, and in comparison to like European standards, I've never been on Amtrak, so I'll only speak from like what I've heard from other people, but it doesn't compare to like the efficient trains over in Europe. Like because I've been a lot over in Europe, I've been on a lot of the nice high speed rail trains, like over in England. As a matter of fact, last year when I was in Serbia, I was on a nice high speed rail train that went from Belgrade to Novi Sad, where normally they're like a little over an hour apart by car, but with the high speed train, it got me there in like 35 minutes, and it was a very nice ride. But yeah, to hear that Florida is doing that is really nice because for me to fly in from Detroit to Miami, it's kind of expensive. So having an option maybe of flying to Orlando or heck even going to Tampa, and then if I were to do like public transportation over to Orlando, then I could take a train down to Miami. Like, it's great that there's other options to get people down to South Florida. So I really like the idea of having a high speed rail line going to South Florida from like the central part of the state. So yeah, it's public transportation is something that we need more of here in the United States. Do you have any trips abroad planned? Yes, as a matter of fact, as of right now, I have something planned in early September. And I know one of the people in the chat, he's actually co-running the trip. So I'm not sure because I know it's up available to the public. So I'm sure. I guess I I guess it's a special treat for you guys. I'll finally reveal where I'm going in September. So it's like, if you're watching this video either live or you're watching this back, thank you for watching. So as a special reward, I'm going to reveal the trip I'm going on. So I'm going to Georgia, not the U.S. state of Georgia, but it's the former Soviet Republic of Georgia. It's over in the Caucasus region of like east, like where Europe and Asia meets. It's near like Turkey, Russia, Armenia, like that area. It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful, and I've always wanted to go there. It's like I've I've known people who have gone over there. It's supposed to be really, really impressive. The food's supposed to be amazing. A lot of beautiful architecture there. So I'm going there in early September. I am really, really, really looking forward to it. And I can't believe it's going to be like less than 5 months from now. So I'm really, really excited. And then I might, maybe just before that, I might, since I'm over in that part of the world, I might try to go somewhere else in Europe or something right before that. But I'm not sure about yet. And then I might even maybe sometime this summer I might try to go over to into Canada or something too. But not that hasn't really been planned yet or anything. But that's the only trip abroad I have planned as of right now. Anything else might be more just within the United States or but there's still a lot of like weekend trips I want to plan over the coming months now that the weather's finally warming up. You should do Amtrak Chicago to San Francisco. That'd be a great fun route. Oh yeah, absolutely. Although because the Amtrak trains I don't think are that fast, so I probably would have to plan like a whole week for that one. But yeah, that would be pretty cool, especially when you get to the western part of the country. Because I know like a lot of the train rides in the western U.S. be really impressive going through all the mountains, the canyons, and a lot of the tunnels. That'd be really impressive. Or heck, even I know there's some really impressive trains in Western Canada too, especially when you go through the Canadian Rockies, going from like from Calgary out to Vancouver. But yeah, it's like train travel would be really cool to do. Do you think the I-70 I-76 interchange in Breezewood will be reconstructed because I-70 transforms from an interstate to a plain road for a few meters? Yeah, I could see them possibly doing that. I'm sure the businesses, all the businesses and gas stations may not be too happy about that because it'll draws some people away. But then again, like for gas stations or fast food restaurants, they'll still get people stopping in because people will still have to fill up their gas tank or get some food. But yeah, I could definitely see them doing a different interchange for that because I remember driving that, I think almost a decade ago when I drove out to the mid-Atlantic states, like going like to Maryland and Virginia, and I had to drive that stretch in Breezewood, Pennsylvania, and it was kind of a pain to get off the freeway and then drive on like the plain road portion and have all the traffic lights, and then get back onto the Pennsylvania Turnpike. That was rather annoying. So I could see them possibly making a new interchange for that. I haven't heard anything if they're going to be doing that or not, but it would be nice though, and I could see that being a reality. Is Georgia safe? I'm sure you're probably referring to the country. Of course, the U.S. state of Georgia is safe too. So that, but yeah, I'm sure you're referring to the Republic of Georgia. It's a very safe country. It's because I've done some checks online, and yeah, it's a very safe country. And I know they're even trying to apply. I think they were trying to apply to join the European Union. So I know they work kind of closely with Europe a little bit too. But I've had friends go over there a few years ago, like right before the pandemic, and they had a really great experience. They had no problems at all. It's a very, very safe place to go. In fact, it's Georgia's been getting a lot of tourists going into that country. So yeah, in terms of safety, yeah, I don't really have any problems, or I don't feel like I'm gonna be unsafe at all. And what's that gonna be nice too is that I'm gonna be there on a group trip too, so be even safer that way too. Have you heard of Control City Freak? He's a YouTuber who covers every interstate in America and the places they're assigned to go to. He apparently has beef with Lyman or Limon, I'm not sure how you pronounce that city in Colorado, being signed on I-70. I have not heard of that YouTuber before, but that might be rather interesting. But it's pretty cool. He goes on every interstate though, so because yeah, I'm sure he's been on a lot more interstates than I have, even though I've been all over. Have you ever done any type of ancestry DNA test? And if so, do you plan to visit all your motherlands? So I have not done any DNA testing by any means. If there ever was anything done, maybe when I was very little and my parents had one done and they just never told me about it. But unless that was the case, I've never had one. But we do have a lot of records, especially on my mother's side, where we have like a lot of documented history. So like I know I got a lot of ancestry from like the United Kingdom. Like I have a lot of ancestry from England. I have some from Wales, and I think even some from a little bit of some from Germany too. But I know a lot of and on my dad's side of the family too. Even some parts from Finland too. So I know a lot. There's a lot of European ancestry, and like in my heritage. But like with my mother's side of the family, it's like a matter of fact, on my way back from Massachusetts this past week, I stopped in Auburn, New York yesterday, and I got to go to the main cemetery in the city. It's the same cemetery where Harriet Tubman's buried. So I got to visit Harriet Tubman's grave, and not too far away is the plot of land that's for my great grandparents, and I even have a great 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 grandfather buried there, which is really cool. And my mother also made a scrapbook based on my maternal grandparents' life. Well, one for my grandpa, one for my grandmother, and where it documents about their lives and through pictures and documents, and also with all of their ancestors. And it's like my mother put all her efforts into building that for based on both their lives and their ancestry, and she did a phenomenal job with it. And like it's really interesting just to look back on how far back that the family's gone to. As a matter of fact, I even learned too that on my maternal grandmother's side of the family, like her mother, like there's some ancestry that goes back to the American Revolutionary War, even, which is really really cool. Because, but it's like, yeah, with a lot of my ancestors, like before they came over or after they came over from Europe, there's a lot of them settled either in New York, like New York State, like either in Auburn or Syracuse, and then also some down in Pennsylvania, and there's some heritage down in the or ancestry down in the Shenandoah Valley of West Virginia and Virginia. So yeah, it's like there's not as much information that I have on my paternal side of the family, but I'm sure I could probably find out some information though. But yeah, that's a good question though. Have you ever done the complete Lake Superior circle? I have not, just because I've not gone on the Canadian side of Lake Superior, because I can easily cross over from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and then do the drive up the northern part of Lake Superior, going all the way over to like Thunder Bay, and then come back down into Minnesota toward Duluth. Like that'd be a really, really cool drive. So that's something I definitely should consider doing at some point, because I've done most of the Michigan side where I've gone from like Sault Ste. Marie over to like Munising, then Marquette, all the way up to Copper Harbor. But I still have to do the part that goes by the Porcupine Mountains. And then of course I have been on the stretch from Ironwood, Michigan, all the way to Duluth. But yeah, the Canadian side of Lake Superior, I'm sure is gonna be really impressive. Although for what I've heard from one of my longtime followers and subscribers is that there are a lack of gas stations on the Canadian route on Lake Superior. So it's like I always would have to keep or be careful, and almost where any gas station I see, I need to stop and just fill up the gas tank, because otherwise I may not see one for quite a long time. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to see where I left off. How is Shelby Township, Michigan to live in? Is it a close knit community or welcoming to outsiders? Is it safe for kids? I do not live in Shelby Township, but it is, for what I've seen when I've driven around there and have gone to different restaurants there. It's a very nice community. It's one of Detroit's many suburbs. It's a very safe community. I've not heard of any problems there. And of course, yeah, anywhere in Michigan, it tends to be very welcoming, like for people from all origins. So I don't see it being a much of a problem. And with it being a suburban area, it's like you'll definitely have like residential neighborhoods where you have a whole bunch of homes and in each neighborhood. So it's not like you're going to feel far away from everybody to where you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. But at the same time, it's not like you're cramped on one little corridor to where. So it's like a happy medium to where it's like you got nice sized yards, but you're still close enough to society to where you can have neighbors, and of course have a lot of different stores, a lot of restaurants where you can meet people, and you're close enough to the whole Lakeside Mall area where there's a lot of shopping or a lot of retail, and it's not too far away from a freeway to where you can easily get to other places in Metro Detroit. So Shelby Township is a nice area. So it'd be an area that if I was looking for like to buy a house or even just rent an apartment or something, or rent a house even, it's an area that I would consider. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't see any issues with Shelby Township. It's a nice area. And you're really close to the Stony Creek Metro Park, which is a beautiful park. Nice lake, lots of trails. So it's a nice area. Okay. Do you plan on filming I-94 West from I-696 to US 23? So yeah, I definitely want to do I-94 West for the videos sorry if I can talk. Now that I've done eastbound, but going west, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where I would plan the videos, but that could be a potential idea. Which, yeah, that may not be a bad route to do. So that way, because I could start, because I do want to do like one section going from like where the Blue Water Bridge is, going all the way down to either M59 or 696, and then towards do 696 to 23. So either be that or it'd be M59 to 23, which would have a little bit more than what you're proposing. But yeah, that's definitely a potential idea. Love the videos. Thank you very much. Have you ever been to Arcadia, Michigan? Um, that doesn't ring a bell. I'm gonna pull up my handy map here because I'm trying to see. It's a nice thing about having two screens is that I can pull up where it is on the map. Oh, okay. So okay. So yeah, I know exactly where that is now. Yeah, I haven't stopped in Arcadia itself. I've mainly just driven through it at M22, and I've gone a few times in my lifetime to the north of there. There's a nice little lookout that's up on top of a big hill. I think it's Inspiration Point. It's on the way up to Frankfort, Michigan. It's a great sunset spot, and I could see me going over there when I head up to the Traverse City area in a month or so. But yeah, I should check out Arcadia itself though, because haven't had a chance to go into the town yet, other than just from the car. Have you been to Sandusky, Ohio, where Cedar Point is? I've been there twice. So once I did go to Cedar Point for an 8th grade field trip. It was at the very end of the year, just before I was getting ready to conclude 8th grade and go into high school. Like we had a field trip to Cedar Point. It was a lot of fun. That was my only time I've been to Cedar Point. And then I've been to Sandusky one other time, and that was over a decade ago, or maybe it wasn't, or about a decade ago. And it's a nice city, although I went at a bad time of the year because it was December and not a whole lot was going on. But I definitely need to get back down to Sandusky, maybe during like the warmer months. Even if I don't go to Cedar Point, but I could always head over there just to explore the city, because I know there's more to Sandusky than just Cedar Point, and also I know there's the Kalahari water park resort that's in Sandusky as well too. How far would it take to go from Detroit to the Mackinac Bridge? It really depends on traffic, but it's about 4 hours usually, because I've driven up to the Mackinac Bridge from where I work in the northern Detroit suburbs, and it takes me about a few hours to get up there. It's not a bad drive, although the only time it can be problematic is on a Friday of a holiday weekend, like for the July weekend or Labor Day weekend or Memorial Day weekend. Then it can be a little bit crazy, especially trying to get out of Detroit, and then even some of the areas going up into Flint, and the stretch that's north of Bay City where it gets down the 2 lanes before you get to the 23 exit, where 23 breaks off to go towards Standish and Tawas and Alpena. But yeah, other than that though, it's about 4 hours. So it's a nice drive up there. Okay. What are your favorite videos of freeway gyms? Mine's are the ones of I-285 going around Atlanta, I-280 in Toledo, and the compilation of freeway gyms videos from the Mississippi trip. That I don't know, because I haven't watched this channel. I'm subscribed to Freeway Jim, and he does a lot of. He's done so many freeway videos. Because it's been a long time since I've watched any of his videos, but yeah, so I don't really have a favorite of his. Although I do enjoy the one he did that was going into the Colorado Rockies west out of Denver. Like that was really impressive and absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I haven't watched any of his videos as of late. But yeah, I know he does a really good job with his videos though. Hey Scott, man, I can't tune in for long, but could you wish my uncle Eric a happy birthday? Up, so in fact, as a special treat for your uncle, I'm going to sing happy birthday. So let's make it even more special. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Uncle Eric. Happy birthday to you. Yep. Hi there, Eric. Hope you're having a great birthday, and hopefully you're out having a great adventure today. Where can we put in our orders for fudge the next time that you visit Frankenmuth? Just kidding, but that place looks awesome. Oh, thank you. There's a lot of great fudge places up in Frankenmuth. I know there's Frankenmuth Fudge Kitchen, which is the one I go to most of the time. And there's also, I think there's Zach's Fudge, or it's like Zach and Max Fudge. I forgot the name of the place. That one I haven't been to personally. And then there was a fudge place that was called Murdoch's that was up there, which unfortunately that ended up closing down, I think in 2019 or something. that was really good too. But yeah, I know it. But Frankenmuth Fudge Kitchen is really good. I really enjoy their fudge. I tend to get it, if not every year, every other year. It's just that good. Hi, Scott, man. Darren and Beth here. Years ago, your Frankenmuth and Mackinac videos helped us plan for a Michigan trip. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you found them very helpful. Been watching you ever since. Any trips to Wisconsin plan? So nothing in the books yet, but funny enough, I was just thinking about that yesterday. Like when I was walking around Erie, Pennsylvania, because I decided just to stop in for an hour on my way back from the Northeast for my road trip. I was thinking, where else in the Great Lakes can I go to? And I was considering Wisconsin possibly maybe sometime this year because I really would like to see the Wisconsin side of Lake Michigan, like going like to the cities like Sheboygan or Port Washington, go up to Green Bay, especially up to Door County, Wisconsin, which is that like the peninsula as you go northeast from Green Bay. Like for what I've seen with pictures online, Door County, Wisconsin looks absolutely impressive. And plus, I have an uncle who lives in northern Wisconsin as well too. He probably would love to see me out there too. So yeah, I might actually consider Wisconsin sometime this year, even maybe do like a road trip or something, but nothing planned yet. But a trip there might happen this year, though. Oh, oh, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Ever got a Bigfoot encounter? I have not. Although much traveling as I do, it's always possible though. And rumor has, I think there's supposed to be a Bigfoot even somewhere in Michigan somewhere, maybe not too far away from where I live, but it could just be rumors. It may not be true or not, but you never know though. Are you a night owl or a morning person? So so I'd say I'm more of a morning person, but not a full morning person. What I mean by that is that during the week, because I work a full-time job. I work in IT full time. So I do have set hours. So I'm always up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, which I don't have a problem really doing that. And then if I'm not traveling and I'm here at home on the weekends, I'll sleep in for a little bit, but I can't sleep in any later than 8 o'clock. Anything later than that, I can't really do that. I used to be able to do that a little bit when I was younger, but not anymore. And then when I'm out traveling, it's very rare that I'm up later than 7 o'clock because I always like to get up early to get out there and head on that adventure. And who knows? And if I want to catch a sunrise or something, I got to get up really early too, because there's been times where I've gone to national parks like 2 or 3 years ago, and I end up getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to catch sunrise. Because I did that when I went to Arcadia National Park in Maine 2 years ago, and then 3 years ago when I went out to Arches National Park in Utah. I got up really early to check out the sunrise one morning at Arches, and then the other morning at a Canyonlands National Park in Utah. So I'm not really a night owl, but I'm not a full morning person, but I'm closer to the morning person on the morning person versus night owl spectrum. I'm closer to morning person than night owl. You could do some great videos in Door County, Wisconsin. Maybe take the car ferry across Lake Michigan to Manitowoc too. Yeah, that's something I've even considered myself too, because I've always wanted to take that ferry that goes across. Because I really thought that idea when I went to Ludington last year, and of course I got up there like an hour or two after the ferry left to go across the lake. So that is a potential idea too, because I know it does leave early enough to where it get over to Manitowoc like in the early afternoon, and then from there I can either see what's in Manitowoc for the day, or I can make my way north up toward the Green Bay area, or even make like a detour south down to Sheboygan. That's always another idea too. But yeah, that's something I'd have to consider though too. But yeah, I'm glad there's a lot of different stuff in Door County though. So yeah, because that area does look really appealing. Not a travel question, but just want to know, why are Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Pac-Man, Sonic, and Captain Falcon your mains in Smash? So it's like, yeah, I don't really get to play a lot of video games these days because I'm always busy with the travel stuff. But yeah, but those are characters I used to play all the time when I was playing a lot more video games. I know, like with Donkey Kong and Yoshi, they're characters I really enjoy playing, even back in the early Smash Brothers games, and I've always grown accustomed to them. And Captain Falcon is a good one too. And then I always like, it's like Sonic and Pac-Man, just because they're iconic characters and they play very very well in those games. But yeah, it's yeah. I don't think I've played Smash Bros in years. Can you do Walnut Lake Road to Corn Road to Big Beaver Road? They're basically the same road, all different names in different cities. So yeah, that could be a possibility too. It's like the one challenge with that is I already do have a Metro Parkway and Big Beaver Road video. So it probably wouldn't be the entire stretch of roads, but it probably be, I could always do like a part two where I'm going on like on Corden Road and Walnut Lake Road. Although one thing, it may not be a long video, but it is always an idea though, because I could always continue where I left off with the Metro Parkway Big Beaver Road video. So that is an idea. So yeah. Thanks for suggesting the idea. Okay, mine's are Sora because I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Kirby because I played with him the second most. Sonic because he made my childhood. Lucario because he's cool Pokemon, and Dog Bias. Oh, that's very cool. And Sephiroth because he's a great villain and appeared in Kingdom Hearts. Oh, awesome. What are some things to do in Michigan outside of Detroit? So yeah, there's a lot. Like, there's a lot of cool things just in Detroit, but but yeah, there's a ton of things to do. Like Michigan is a great outdoor state. If you go up to the northern part of the state, you got all sorts of different state parks. You got, for one, you got Sleeping Bear Dunes. You got all the different parks along Lake Michigan, from Holland State Park and all the different communities on Lake Michigan. Again, like Holland, Traverse City, Ludington, Manistee, South Haven, St. Joe's or St. Joseph. And of course, going on the Lake Huron side, you got Alpena, you got Tawas City, you got Oscoda, and of course, Mackinac Island is what is probably the top attraction in all of Michigan. And what was cool is that I even met a stranger like on a sidewalk in Auburn, New York, on Friday when I was filming, and I had an older person come up and talk to me for a minute, and she asked where I was from, and then she mentioned about Mackinac Island. And so it's pretty cool that there are people from outside of Michigan that have heard of Mackinac Island, because it's a really cool area. And then there's the Upper Peninsula too, where there's a lot of different great parts. You got the Picture Rock National Lakeshore, you got Taquamadan Falls, you got the Sioux Locks up in Sault Ste. Marie, you got Marquette, which is a beautiful city, and you also got the Sugarloaf Mountain that's near there. You got some impressive views from the top. There's Copper Harbor. And then even back down here in the Lower Peninsula, there's Frankenmuth, which is basically, it's a Bavarian themed town, which has a lot of great shopping, lots of great food, especially the world famous chicken dinners at Zender's in the Bavarian Inn. And there's also Grand Rapids too, which is Beer City, USA. So if you really enjoy checking out breweries or drinking some good beer, Grand Rapids is a great place to go to. Plus, there's also Frederick Meyer Gardens, which is absolutely beautiful. And then there's also the Gerald Ford Presidential Museum is in Grand Rapids. But yeah, it's like I could go on for a long time. It's like, if you look at my videos on my YouTube channel, you'll notice that a lot of videos are filmed in the state of Michigan. So so you can tell there's a lot of cool things in this state. Even to check out just some of the smaller towns is really impressive. So it's like, yeah, you definitely, if you've never been to Michigan, it's like you need to plan your trip to Michigan today, because there's so much cool stuff here. And of course, lots of great food as well too. Yeah, that's a good question though. Darren again, Beth and I live near Door County. You wouldn't be disappointed if you visit. Thank you very much. Yeah, I definitely will look forward to it if I get a chance to head out there. Do you plan on getting a dog sometime? So you could say I have one, and you could say I don't. So basically, so like right now, I because I currently pay, I live in my parents' basement, but I pay rent, so it's like I have the whole basement to myself, really. So that directly answer your question. So it's like I personally don't have a dog, but my mother does have it. My parents do have a dog. So since we live in the same household, like even though I live in I pay rent in the basement, but I still get to see my parents' dog, which is really really cool though. But it's like if I was living by myself though, or with someone else, I'd have to change the way I travel a little bit, just because I wouldn't want to leave a pet behind for a very long period of time. But it's like, but yeah, so you can say it's a great way of having a pet, but not having it personally of mine or anything like that, whether it's a dog or a cat. Have you ever gone to Hell, Michigan? That is, yes, I've been to Hell and back. so I've not had a chance to stop in any of the businesses there. So if, for anybody who doesn't know, Hell, Michigan is a small unincorporated community that's just to the southwest of a Pinckney, Michigan, which is northwest of Ann Arbor. It's really popular there, and especially around Halloween, just because of the whole hellish like environment. But it's a big area. A lot of bikers go in that area too. Like there's like a bar that's there. Like a lot of bikers go to, because the highway it's off of, it's a popular biker route. But yeah, I definitely need to stop in there at some point. But I remember filming a driving video one time where it was called to hell and back or something like that. But it's a pretty cool area where the temperature is always 666 degrees. Do you need a boat to get to Mackinac Island? So I've heard. Yes, yes, you do, but you don't have to have your own boat or anything like that. The only way you can get to Mackinac Island is by boat, but they do get different ferries which will take you over to the island. And I'm sure you can also take your own boat over too, but the most popular way is by taking some of the ferry services. There's ferries which go from either St. Ignace, which is the first community north of the Mackinac Bridge in the Upper Peninsula, or in Mackinac City, which is at the tip of the Lower Peninsula. They got ferry systems which take you over to the island from there. Yep. Hey, friends up. Hey there. It's great to see you on here. Where does your love of travel come from, and what made you decide to start vlogging? So it's a long story, but when it comes to the travel, I've always enjoyed geography and looking at maps ever since I was a kid. Like for example, even when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I would look all the time at the World Atlas, or as a matter of fact, I think even for Christmas or my birthday one year when I was 6 or 7, I think I was even given a map of Houston, Texas as a gift, just because I loved looking at maps. And this was when I was living in Houston, Texas for 4 years. And I would spend hours just looking at the maps and then just seeing the world around me. And I've always dreamt of going to all these different cool places. And so that's where that started. And also I also have an uncle who's been to many different countries around the world too, which I think he works like in the agriculture business. In fact, this is the same uncle that I was mentioned about who lives in Wisconsin. Like he's gotten to travel to so many different countries. Like he's been to many different countries in Europe and Asia. So I know he's been, because I think to name a few, he's been like to Mongolia, he's been to Afghanistan, he's been to Bosnia Herzegovina, he's been to Slovenia, he's been to Belarus, he's been to Ukraine, and he's also been to Uganda and Kenya. So he's been all over. So I've gotten to see a lot of cool things that he has done. And then for the second question with starting the vlogging, so I actually started with the YouTube channel almost 14 years ago to the day, and that was when I filmed the very first travel video, which the videos back then were absolutely terrible, but hey, you gotta start somewhere. But it's like I wanted to do travel videos with commentary. It was because I used to watch like video game playthroughs where people would play a video game and commentate over them. So I was like, if people could do that with video games, I'm sure you could do that with travel. So that's where that basically started. I just picked up my digital camera and I started filming travel content, and that's basically how I started. And so it's like I was doing travel videos all the way back since 2009, back when it was not when travel vlogging was not really a big thing. But there are some travel vloggers who've been going on for that long. I know like Hey Nadine's like a big one who's been doing travel content for almost for that long too. But yeah, that's kind of where how all that got started. Thanks for the advice. Have only laid over in DTW, which for anybody who doesn't know, DTW is Detroit Metro Airport. It's the main airport in Detroit, which is all I have seen of Michigan. But I wanted to go out of the airport and see the state. Oh, absolutely. It's like, yeah, there's more to see to Detroit than just the airport. Although I will admit, the airport here in Detroit, whether you fly into the McNamara terminal, which is the terminal for Delta, or the Evans terminal, which used to be called the North terminal, which is where all the other airlines fly into. Those are really nice terminals, but yeah, there's more to see in Michigan than just the airport. So yeah, hopefully get a chance to check out the rest of Michigan sometime. Like you will not be disappointed. Is Ann Arbor one of the most diverse towns in Michigan? Um, I don't. It's hard to say, but it definitely is quite diverse, though. So if it's not the most, I'd say it's in the top 10, just because you have the University of Michigan there, which the University of Michigan is one of the best public universities in the state of Michigan, and you get people from all over the world going there. So with that, you get many different cultures, and it's like you can even see that with the restaurants too. Because I even went to a Cuban restaurant that was in Ann Arbor one time, and as a matter of fact, one of them was featured in my restaurant tour of Ann Arbor I did last year. So yeah, there is quite a bit of diversity in Ann Arbor because you get all the different university students coming in, and it brings a lot of great culture. So yeah, so Ann Arbor is definitely up there. Ever been to Minnesota? Duluth would be a fun place for a video. Ah, yes, I have. And funny enough, Duluth is the only place in Minnesota I have been to. I did a road trip out to the Dakotas back in about 3 years ago, and on my way to Fargo, I stopped in at Duluth. I got to spend the night there, and yeah, Duluth's a pretty cool city. I forgot the name of the tower, but there's a really cool park that overlooks the city of Duluth, and you can climb it to the top of this tower, and you get some really cool views of Duluth and the whole area with Lake Superior. And there was a restaurant I went to as well too, which was right on Lake Superior. I remember going there at sunset. I could have a nice dinner and then look out to my left. I was eating outside, and I just looked to my left and I could see Lake Superior. It was just absolutely beautiful. But that's really the only thing I've seen of Minnesota, other than any of the countryside of northern Minnesota when I was driving to Fargo. But I do need to get back to Minnesota though, because I really would love to get over to Minneapolis sometime. So because would love to check out Minneapolis and St. Paul at some point. That'd be a really cool trip to do. Oh, yep, see, because the university, yep, absolutely. Because yeah, with how credible the University of Michigan is, it definitely brings in people from all over the world, which is absolutely great to see. Have you been to the Old Mariners Church in Detroit? Not sure what that one is, but I can let's look that up. All right, Old Mariners. Okay, so it looks like it's on Jefferson. Okay. Oh, it's right near Hart Plaza. So I've walked by it many times, but I've not gone in there before. But I should try to check it out sometime though, just because I do go to downtown Detroit quite often, and I've gone over to Hart Plaza many times. So I should definitely check that out sometime. Have you ever been to the University of Michigan game in Ann Arbor? Yes, I have, but I was only a kid when I went to a game. I remember it a little bit though. It was I went to one of the games in 1999. I was in sixth grade. I remember my my parents and one of my uncles and I like we went to a game. It was Michigan was playing Purdue that year, and it was in 1999, and it was a very cold and wet day, but it was a fun game. And what was cool is that I got to watch two future all-time great NFL quarterbacks go 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 against each other because it was Michigan and Purdue. So I got to watch Tom Brady and Drew Brees play against each other. And of course, we know that after both of them got drafted into the NFL, Drew Brees became a great quarterback, especially for the New Orleans Saints. And of course, Tom Brady became basically the greatest of all time when it comes to like quarterbacks for most of the New England Patriots, but then the last couple of years of his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before he eventually retired. But so that was really cool. So you could say that the one Michigan game I've been to that happened to be I happened to see a goat in training. Do you plan on filming freeway videos in the Twin Cities? So I'm sure I probably will, just because because if I were to even just fly there, I see me renting a car at least one of the days to go off somewhere outside the city. And of course, I know Minneapolis has a lot of freeways, so I could see me doing one, maybe even two of them. Or if I were to drive out that way, then I for sure would be doing that. So, but yeah, of course, the thing is, I don't have any trips planned to Minneapolis at this time. But if I do, though, I could see me doing some freeway videos over there. Lots and lots of great food here in the Twin Cities. Oh, I bet. Because I've seen a lot of different places for food over there. Like I know like the so I know there's the Juicy Lucy burgers that are supposed to be really, really delicious with like the melted cheese inside the burgers. Like those look really impressive. I'm sure I want to go to both, at least one of those places to get one of those. And of course some other great food options too. So when I go to see, you bet there's gonna be a lot of great food involved, if you know me. Plans to visit Las Vegas, Denver, or Seattle soon. So Seattle, I'm not sure yet. I really want to get out to Seattle, but the flights are always so expensive going out there. But if I can find a good enough price for a flight, I definitely want to get out there. Salt Lake City is another city I need to visit too, because I've only seen the airport. And then Denver, I've been to many times, but yeah, because I do have family in Colorado, which if I want to try to go see them or something for like a long weekend, yeah, I could always fly into Denver. But yeah, no immediate plans or at least no documented plans as of yet, but hopefully soon though. What is your all-time favorite meal you've had in your travels? Oh wow, that I can't really think of one particular meal, but there's like a few ones that are top notch though. Like for one, I really enjoy the lobster rolls that you get out in New England because I had a lot 2 years ago when I went out there, and then I had another good one when I was in. Oh yeah, when I was in Cape Cod just this past trip because I had a really good lobster roll, which you'll see in an upcoming video. By the way, will be coming up in probably in a few. I actually think the video. I have to edit it though, but it'll probably come out pretty soon. Like I went to a really good place in Hyannis, Massachusetts, which had a really good lobster roll. So that's one of them. Also, really enjoyed the uh, the the doner kebabs that you get at a lot of places, especially in Europe. Those are always really good. So enjoy that. I also enjoy the cevapi that you get in Serbia as well as in Bosnia Herzegovina. So that's really good. And trying to think if there's anything else that pops in my mind. Oh yeah, and there was a I forgot what it was called, but it was like a carnitas fries that I had that was in San Diego that was really impressive. It's like mixing. It felt like it was a mix of Tex-Mex and poutine. And of course, I really enjoy poutine, and of course, poutine's another one too because I've been to Montreal, had really good poutine there. Which, if you don't know what poutine is, it's basically fries covered with cheese curds and gravy. And a lot of times you can put other toppings on there too, which is absolutely fantastic. Not healthy for you, but it's good for the soul, though. My last question: have you been to a Detroit Pistons game? So I have not, but I definitely want to try to go to one at some point. I know the Pistons, as of late, have been really terrible. They've been really struggling with their rebuilding, but would like to go to one sometime. Just like I do want to get to a Detroit Red Wings game too at some point, because I've only been to Little Caesars Arena once, and that was just to do like a tour around the arena when it first opened. Oop, had to get back to work. Oh, but no problem at all. Like the stream probably won't be going for too much longer anyway, because I got other stuff going on today. But yeah, I just realized I haven't had water in a while, so neither kind of like when I film my drying videos. If I'm talking for a long period of time, that my throat tends to dry out a little bit, so I gotta hydrate. Have you been to Dallas? Yes, I have. I've been a couple times. I went 3 years ago to Dallas. It was right before the pandemic started, and but yeah, I really enjoyed Dallas. There's a lot of really cool things to see and do there. Where you don't even have to pay anything, which is really cool. Like I remember going to the art museum there, which was absolutely free to go to. But yeah, Dallas is a pretty cool city. And then I've also been to Fort Worth, Texas, to the west of there too. Which I went to Fort Worth in late 2021. Another cool city too, especially with the stockyards. Is it hard to balance your work and your traveling? Not really, just because the place I do work at, I am very thankful that they do highly respect a good work life balance. So it's like because I only work during the week, so I am able to get a lot of vacation time. So like with all my different trips, I utilize vacation days or holidays, and of course weekends, because it's very very rare I have to do any type of work on the weekends. So that's usually where I can capitalize on my different adventures that way. What are your favorite freeway videos that you filmed? Yours were the video of I-75 going from I-94 to Alexis Road, I-81 going from I-80, I-84, 380, and so on. Favorite freeway videos. Eh, I'm trying to remember all especially the freeway ones, because I know there's some really good driving videos I filmed, but I don't think they were on the freeway. But because yeah, almost trying to remember. I know like a lot of the ones where I'm driving through mountains were always really impressive. Trying to remember if I did any my road trip out to the western part of the U.S. 3 years ago. Oh, wait a minute. I think that's right. I filmed one of my favorites. Yeah, I forgot. It was I-70 when I was going west out of Denver, going to Highway 40. That was near Empire, Colorado, which is the first town you come into on Highway 40 as you head over across the mountains, or like Bertha Passing over to like Winter Park, Granby, out to Steamboat Springs. So that's one of my favorite drives, just because you got a lot of impressive scenery along the freeway. So that's the one in terms of freeways which comes in my mind first. A little bacon and poutine is amazing. Oh, absolutely. It's like, yeah, bacon is absolutely essential when it comes to like poutine or any type of cheese fries. That's why I enjoy anytime I've been to Outback Steakhouse. I always enjoy getting the Aussie cheese fries. Have you been to a Lions game? So I have not, but I really want to try to go to one this year, because the Lions may potentially have a good season this year. I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl or anything, but they could possibly make the playoffs. But I should try to go to one this year, though, because it would be a really cool experience. Thanks for taking our questions, Scottman. Happy travels. We'll be watching. Thank you very much for all your support. Thanks for coming on the Q&A today. Before we end, just want to tell you how awesome your videos are. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all your support. I'm glad you've been enjoying them. I got a lot more videos coming out. Which, yeah, speaking of that, I gotta start adding some videos from my most recent road trip now. I'll start working on that this week, though. Thanks for doing the live stream. It was interesting. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for hopping on here. How do you like your grilled cheese sandwich? I like mine's with turkey, mustard, and mayo. Oh wow, that's a toughie, just because like just because that's like I don't eat a ton of grilled cheese because again, it's not the healthiest sandwich in the world, but I kind of like the one that I got at Melt Bar and Grilled in Lakewood, Colorado, not Colorado, Lakewood, Ohio, last year when I did that grilled cheese sequel video, which that was a lot of fun to make. And I remember, I think I got mine with fries and of course grilled cheese, of course. And I think I had chicken on it too, if I remember right, which that was really good. It's like to have a really good grilled cheese sandwich, though. If I could pick all the toppings, you'd have to have a lot of cheese, like cheddar, mozzarella, a, a lot of melted cheese. You have to have bacon, either French fries or an onion ring, or if not an onion ring, and maybe I would even argue for like red onions too, because red onions are really good on sandwiches or burgers. So, and then they have some chipotle mayo or some type of a chipotle sauce. I'm getting hungry just talking about that. But yeah, that be kind of be like my ideal grilled cheese sandwich. Uh, how many countries have you been to? So it's either been 14 or 15. So I'll go because it's not a ton of countries. So I'll try to remember. I'll try to count on stream right now how many I've been to. So of course, the United States and Canada. I've been to Indonesia, been to the United Kingdom, been to Spain, been to the Netherlands, been to Germany, been to Austria. Okay, I'm trying to remember all them all. I've been to Italy. I've been to Slovenia, been to Slovakia, been to Bosnia Herzegovina, been to Croatia, been to Montenegro, been, been to Serbia. So I would say and then I can't forget the Vatican City because yeah, Vatican City is a country too. So I think I've been to 16. I think I updated my website though. I can probably get the more accurate total on there. Anytime I go to a new country, I always update the. Oh, okay, so man, I was off by a country or two. I've been to 17 countries. So yeah, I've been to yeah. I'm cheating because I'm looking at my map that's on my Scottman895travel.com website. So it's been the United States, Canada, Indonesia, United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, Germany, Netherlands, Austria, Czech Republic, Slovakia. Okay, where did I leave? Oh, Slovenia, Vatican City, Bosnia Herzegovina, Croatia, Serbia, and Montenegro. So 17 countries, and doing the upcoming Georgia trip, they'll be potentially number 18, and then who knows? I could decide to go somewhere else too before that. What's your least favorite freeway? Hmm. I would say the 401 in the greater Toronto area, just because it is a giant parking lot, even on the weekends. Because I remember I filmed the driving video on the 401 in the Toronto area, and the traffic was just horrendous that day because I was driving from Detroit all the way to Ottawa, and it's like I felt like I was not going anywhere in that video. But it's like I have yet to come across a person who enjoys that freeway, just, especially in the Toronto area it's like where I basically consider it just one giant parking lot or car park. Do you enjoy the plane rides? I do, although not necessarily the very long ones. Like if the plane ride is like 13 hours, that's quite a long time, especially just to be sitting in one place. You feel like you're never going to get off the airplane. But yeah, I don't have a problem flying or anything like that. I'm not scared of flying. I'm not afraid of heights or anything. So, and it's a safe form of travel too. So I don't have a problem with flying. Although the only con for me is if it's a really long flight. Like even the ones going to Europe aren't that bad, but I remember flying back from Indonesia and I had a layover in Sydney, Australia. I didn't get a chance to leave the airport though. But the flight from Sydney to LA was like 13 hours and felt like that was going to take forever. How do you decide which countries to visit? I generally take a look at like where everybody else has gone to, what places look really cool, and also like some of the different food that they have available or have available there, and at the same time too, because I really enjoy Europe. I always try to look at different places in Europe I want to go to, and like with Serbia, for example, too, I wanted to go somewhere that's not as heavily traveled as like France or Spain or Italy. Although funny enough, I did go to Rome for like 2 or 3 days after Serbia because I always wanted to go to Rome. But like Serbia, for example, it's not as heavily visited as the other countries in Europe. So I figured, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. So I wanted to check out some of the different places. So it's like I like going to a lot of different places that a lot of places that are popular, but at the same time too, let's go to the places that maybe aren't as high in the tourist radar, but at the same time, I want to make sure I'm going someplace where I'm gonna be able to make it home though, make it home safely. How many of the 50 states have you visited? So I've been to 46 out of 50. So the only ones I have yet to visit are Alaska, Hawaii, Idaho, and Nevada. Big fan from Lansing, Michigan. Up. Thank you very much. Yeah, Lansing is quite a cool city. I need to get back out there to film a new video though, because the one video I have of Lansing is kind of old. I think I-40 in Texas is dull. Yeah, I can agree with that because it's not a whole lot to really see there. Although at least you do get does look a little bit better though when you're driving through Amarillo itself, though, and of course make a stop at the Big Texan to have one of their steaks. US 24 in the entirety of Ohio, except Toledo is on par with that. Oh yeah, yeah, I could agree with that too. Because yeah, that whole stretch of 24 going from Toledo all the way down to like Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's not the most appealing drive. What is your favorite state in the U.S. overall? Okay, so I'm a little biased, but Michigan's definitely one of my favorite states. I have to say that because I live here, but I am being truthful though because Michigan's such a cool state. But outside of Michigan, though, one of my favorite states is Colorado, just because they have all the mountains and lots of really cool scenery there. So Colorado is one of my favorites. Texas is one of my favorites, just because there's a lot of cool cities to see and a lot of great parks and cool nature out in Texas. And also Massachusetts is one of my favorites too, just because you got Boston, which is one of my favorite cities, and then you got Cape Cod and a lot of cool things on the ocean. So those are probably some of my top few favorites states in the United States. Have you considered doing live videos when out and about? That's something I have thought of. I'd have to play around with that a little bit though, too, I'd have to work off probably because what I could always do is I could always use my cell phone as a hotspot or something, and then link up my camera to the Wi-Fi network. So that is a potential idea, but I'd only be able to, I'd be limited to like areas with really good cell service, like Detroit, for example, like a walk around downtown Detroit. But that's definitely an idea because I know like a lot of the real life streams where people are walking around different areas, that is definitely something that is picking up a little bit. So that's something I would definitely consider thinking of. Cool. Can't wait for new videos in Lansing. Oh, absolutely. I'll have to consider doing something in the some hope maybe even the Siri event, but I have to see what I got planned coming up though. Texas has some great history. Oh yeah, absolutely. History everywhere in Texas, especially with the Alamo and Texas winning its independence from Mexico. Like that's a lot of cool stuff there. I really enjoyed how you included your nieces and nephew in the recent Detroit video. Got plans to do that again? No immediate plans, but I had such a great time having them join me for the adventure. I know one of them's always wanted to be in one of my videos and and will always wanted to tag along and yeah, I would love to have all of them back in another video to do something else. Yeah, because yeah, they're great people. I really enjoy seeing what they're getting to do now, especially because all five of them are over 18 now, so it's like they're starting their own lives. So it's like really cool to see what they're doing. Yeah, I love all of them, and I love to have them back in another video. Least favorite states, if you'd like to share. It's really hard to say. It's like I don't really have a least favorite just because to be honest with you, it's like there's always something cool about every state. Like or even with every place I go to, like there's always something really cool about every city or town that you visit. Like even if the place is not the most appealing in the world, but there's still something cool and unique about each and every destination. So I don't really have a true like least favorite. It's like I may have maybe a least favorite freeway, but maybe then not like a least favorite state or country or anything. Longest flight you have done? So is the one I just mentioned about where I had a flight from Sydney, Australia to LA. That was like 13 hours and it was really long. And then yeah, and also about the number of countries I visited, I don't include Australia because when it comes to countries I visited, I don't include countries where I've just had a flight layover because I don't consider just seeing the airport as being a country that I have visited. So we'll make that little disclaimer about one of the previous questions. Do you not mind that the fact I-93 is one lane freeway on both sides going through Franconia National Park? Oh no, it's actually for what I've heard for why they did that, it's not a bad idea. It's because it's a way to because they do that to slow down the traffic on that freeway, and plus it's not like it's a very heavily traveled freeway anyway. It's mostly people going to northern Vermont or New Hampshire, or people going to Franconia National State Park, which it's a beautiful park by the way. If you've not been to Franconia National State Park in New Hampshire, you must go there. Like you got really cool mountains there, beautiful trails. Like it's a must see there. But yeah, it's like it's a way to help keep the it's a way to have the freeway there, but keep it or to help protect the environment a little bit. So it's not a problem anytime I travel there, and plus it's not a long stretch of one lane freeway anyway. Texas native here. We are definitely rich in history. Oh, absolutely. That's one of the cool things about Texas. And I always enjoy all my trips down to Texas. No trip is ever dull or disappointing. Just Texas is just a cool state. Got some of the friendliest people in this like in the country as well too. Some great food there too. Who gonna win the NBA Finals this year? Oh, that's a good question. That's really hard to say. I haven't been keeping up on NBA really this year, so I don't really know. But I think the Boston Celtics do have a good chance though of potentially winning it all. There's the Celtics, and I know Memphis is playing very well too. Like I know they're playing the Lakers right now. But yeah, it's really hard to say. It's like I could see the Celtics winning. I could see it's like I could even see the Memphis potentially winning it, and or even the West Coast. Even though Golden State is a lower seed in the playoffs, but yeah, with Steph Curry, it's like anything's possible. So it's really hard to say. I can't really predict a team, but there's a couple of them, the ones I mentioned, which could be potential champions. So it's really hard to say though. Have you ever gotten a business class or first class upgrade on an international flight? If so, how was it? So unfortunately, I have not gotten lucky with that. It would be cool to get an upgrade to first class or like the highest tier on a plane, like especially with the Delta flights, getting those Delta One cabins where you can sleep on your back. It's like it's very luxurious. I have not gotten lucky with that, unfortunately, but hopefully soon though. It's like I'm a silver medallion member for Delta, so you never know. It could come up. So I'll just have to keep on traveling and find out. All right, so it looks like I got through all the questions here. So I should try to probably wrap up the stream here. So if anybody has any like last minute questions, especially like rapid fire questions, yeah, more than welcome to ask them really quick. But yeah, I do want to thank all you for attending the stream today. This has been a lot of fun. I'm gonna try to do these general Q&A streams. Try to do like a couple a year, and I also do have a Patreon too, where every month I do like a monthly Q&A stream for patrons, and those are a lot of fun too, where I get a lot of great questions on there as well too. So that's a cool way if you wanted to attend more of the Q&A streams is through is through Patreon. But again, at the same time too, I like doing this, and I want to do another general Q&A stream because I don't want to feel like because I don't want to leave everybody out with these or anything. So because I do enjoy the Q&A streams, and I'll admit too, this has been a lot more fun than just doing the old fashioned way where I make a post and then I have you ask questions ahead of time and then I answer like just in a video. Like this is a cool way where I can more interact with you guys live on stream. This is a lot more fun. Do you think I-4095 would be faster going from I-95 to I-93? It depends on the traffic. If the traffic's not too heavy in the greater Boston area, then I-95 would be a little bit faster. I-93 is usually always slow unless you're going through there on like a Sunday morning, which when I filmed that video of I-93 going through Boston 2 years ago, I think that was on a Sunday morning and traffic was very light. So I was very lucky with that one. So, but if there's really heavy traffic in Boston, then 495 might be your better option because it's a lot more further away from the city and you can get around all the traffic of Boston. It was awesome to meet a fellow traveler. Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, it was a great meeting on here as well too. What's happening, Scott? Oh, not too much. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to be getting ready to wrap up the stream. But the good news, though, is that is that this video will be saved on my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to catch back the whole playback of the Q&A stream. If you have a quick question you'd like to ask me right now, yeah, feel free to ask really quick because I'll probably wrap up in a couple minutes or so. And then thanks for doing this. It was fun. Oh, absolutely. I had a lot of fun doing this. To be honest with you, I was only planning to go for an hour and it's been almost an hour and a half. It's like just having a lot of fun with this. So it's like I lost track of time. Hello, my name is Dwayne. I'm Dominic's brother and like your YouTube channel. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy all my different content. I don't know if you know this, but I-57 is going to be extended to Little Rock. I did hear about that because I know I-57 currently ends at I-55 near Sikeston, Missouri, and I know and I think it's Highway 67, which goes northeast out of Little Rock, and it goes well through the state. And I think I-57 would connect that way, which that would be nice if they would to do that. So that way, if you're driving from like St. Louis, not St. Louis, but like from Chicago or from Indianapolis or even for like Michigan, it's more of a direct route to Little Rock without having to take I-55 down to West Memphis and then take I-40 to the west over toward Little Rock. No worries, you don't know this yet, but we have a lot of parallels. Oh, that's very, very cool. It's really cool meeting people who are very similar. All right, so I guess we'll get ready to wrap up here. And yeah, it was really great doing this Q&A stream. We'll definitely have to do another general one sometime in a few months or so from now. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining this, and for anybody who's watching this after the live or like after the fact, watching like the playback. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this Q&A stream, and thank you for watching, so I'll get ready to close out here. Oh, okay. I'll go and I'll answer your question just because I know you joined at the very last second. Do you use the tube in London? Yes, I have. So my last trip to London, which was around this time last year, I did use the tube, going to different places. And yeah, it's a very, very, very efficient. I really enjoy riding on the tube there, which for anybody who doesn't know, that the tube is basically the London Underground, which is basically London's like metro system, but it's called the tube in London. Thank everyone so much for not only joining this Q&A stream, or if you're watching this after the fact, thank you for watching this video, and thank you guys for all your great support. It's great having you. It's great having you join me for the adventure, and hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and have a great week.